Hey everyone, how's it going? Hope you all had a good weekend. We're back with another midday market recap. It's not quite midday; it's about 7 p.m. my time, so a bit later than usual. But yeah, let's get into the video. Obviously, just before we get into the video, just always want to thank every single person who has subscribed to the channel, who's liking the videos. We're gaining more and more subscribers every day, and it's really appreciated, and it's mind blowing how fast we're moving right now. So thank you. Let's keep this going, and yeah, let's get into today's recap. So today is actually a no trade recap. There were about 3 stocks. There was about 4 or 5 different trades we could have made today, but didn't. And we'll talk about that now. But we didn't actually place any trades, as you see up here. Realized, unrealized, total shares, nothing. And if we look at here, the buying power, that's sort of the main reason for today. On Trade Zero, once you get below $500, you actually lose buying power. So you lose your leverage, you lose your margin. So you see here, the margin buying power, the cash buying power, the overnight, which is still market still trading right now. So we didn't have any buying power. So even on 100 shares, if we've got a $10 stock, 100 shares, we need $1,000 basically. So that kind of came into play today. So that come into play, but there were other reasons. So we had that big red day on Friday. So after that red day, it was good to have the weekend, bit of reflection, and then we're back at it today. And just because sometimes I don't always feel 100% on Mondays, I think during the week normally we have some good days where, well, every day we're in the market, our heads in the game, bang, bang, bang. Then we have the breaks, and Monday you're sort of getting back up to speed again. So just because we had that little break, the weekend break, and we had the Friday, and with the buying power as it is right now, I just thought we'll take it easy today. We'll see how it goes first day, and we'll just take it easy. So I wasn't really having the intention to trade today. Just to let you know, I have topped up this account now. I sent a wire transfer this morning, so tomorrow we'll be up to, I think, about $850-ish maybe. I believe about 850, 860. So we'll be back to normal tomorrow, and hoping to place trades as usual tomorrow. But there were some good setups, and we will talk about that now in the video. So there were a few stocks we was looking at pre-market. I won't go into too much detail about pre-market, but sort of the 3 stocks we're looking at were CIFS, which was gapping up, JMU, which was gapping up but with no volume, but it was on the gap scanner, and it did come into play later on. Rkda was another one. Rkda made a move on Friday, and we're sort of looking for that continuation. It's just to keep an eye on. But the main one today was CIFS. And as you see on Friday, this made a. Let's go back here. If we look at here on the screen now, if we look at Friday, you see Friday made this big move from the $2 region up to the 270s up to 390. So it was in play, and it was gapping up this morning. Gapped up. It started about 360, got to a high of around 575. So definitely in play. Definitely one to keep an eye on. So just to give you an idea, when we get these stocks that are gapping up and making this really big move, basically a $2 move, we need it to hold at least sort of 50% of the position, and it kind of did that. It was waving between the $5 and the 450 mark, but so definitely one to keep an eye on. So really good move pre-market. Get this nice wavy consolidation here, and that's basically one of our first entries. So one of the first entries I was looking for to actually get into the trade was here. If you see, we get this nice sort of, you could kind of count that one, but just this here, just below the $5 mark, which is nice, a nice entry. Hold $1 in the holder was a really good entry. We got this nice little wedge here. That would technically be our support around the 460, but we wouldn't want a risk reward. Well, we wouldn't want to stop that low basically. But this is our entry, this top line. So pre-market, as it's gapped up, we'll be looking for this to pop back up, get a break over the 490 mark, look for it to break $5 and sell on the other side. So that was definitely the first entry we could have played, and what I was looking at pre-market. Let's go into this a bit more. So as you see here, market opens, sort of gets a little pop. Definitely this would be the good entry here. First minute candle to make a new high. Did exactly what we thought it would do, and it popped up to about 524. I was looking at this, don't know why I didn't place this trade. It's one thing I I'm just not pulling the triggers right now. Maybe Friday affected me, not 100% sure, but definitely got to start pulling the trigger a bit more. It was quite an easy setup. We got the pre-market pivot there at 4. That says 4.96. I would have got in anticipation for it for around 4.90. Sell on the other side of $5, and that would have been a perfect trade there. 15 to 20 cents profit. And even if you guys didn't see that today, you can see it was quite clear here. And going forward, it's definitely a good setup. That's kind of one of the setups I am looking to trade. Gap and go. So the stock's gapping up. We get the pre-market pivot. We look for the break, especially under the $5, because once we get past that like sort of whole dollar resistance as such, we can get a nice break onto the other side of it. So we saw that. So this is the one we was keeping an eye on. This is where the volume was coming in. You see 1 million shares of volume. And one thing we then did is, the other entry we do is when we do get this surge through, we're looking for this pullback. So as you see, we got the push up, we get the pullback, and this is where I was actually looking to get in. If you see my order history here, CFIS at 9.32 basically on this down here on this pullback, I pressed my hotkey to get in. Now my hotkey is set to 100 shares. And I couldn't, with my buying power, I couldn't afford 100 shares, so it was quite frustrating to make that simple error. Obviously, I needed to type out in the level 2. So then the stock popped up, and I was like, oh, I missed an entry. And then it was just like, okay, whatever. Let's go on to let's see what the next setup is. So it's just consolidating nicely here, and we get sort of this. It's just tug of war battles between sellers and buyers. And we get this nice pullback again, and we get this massive surge from the 510 up to the 580, so 70-cent move. This was very difficult to get in. It looks easy, like you could have got in from this pre-market, this 1 minute to make the new high, but it just shot up within like 3 seconds from there to there. Absolutely crazy. So once it done that, it was back in play, and yeah, so actually, sorry, one of my other entries was 9.34. We did, once again, I was looking for this pullback. I think it was around 9.34. Yeah, we got this big this big green candle again. Look for another pullback. Once again, I didn't get filled because once again I had my shares as 100. Went to buy. Long story short, just simple errors, and we got rejected. But nevertheless, that wasn't the best move. The first entry was the pre-market pivot, which was here. Second entry was the pullback for the squeeze, and then my actual third entry I was looking at was actually right here. So I'll get the little cursor out. So what we got, we're starting to get this support, and what will happen is, so it's just grinding, and then once we got this one, and we got this sort of a big washout down again. I say not a big washout, but a good 30 cents down. But notice it went down to the 560, so we've got 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth touch of the 560. So definitely the area to get in was around the 560, say 565, 15 cent. We'd look to sell below the 560 and definitely below the $0.50 of 550, which is actually there, that line there. But yeah, if it was to go below 560, we would sell straight away. And as you see, when you get these big pops, they're not always guaranteed to come. These big drops, they're not always guaranteed to go back up. But that's what I look for: buying low, selling high. Because you could buy here for the making a new high, but you've got to be so quick. And it shows you easy on the candles, but you do have to be very quick. You've got to see the level 2, you've got to be quick with your hotkeys, and the actual risk reward on this one wouldn't have been great. It'd have been maybe, it's 15 cents there, but how much would you have captured? Maybe 10 cents. But here it was a 560, so if you got in say 570 and you rode it up to even 590, you've got 20 cents. So that was the third entry I was looking at. Once again, didn't pull the trigger. So you just got to take my word for it, basically. But that is what I was looking at. After that, it did make some really crazy moves. When it flushed down, I actually wasn't interested in this. We just get a lot of, look at this, this consolidation. It broke that sort of previous support here, and it come down. And I thought that was the end of the move, but it had a second lease of life, and it came. And it actually surged all the way back. Once again, it looks easy. Like you could have bought the 1 minute to make a new high here. You've got the green. You got the pullback, that's not the bad. You probably could have got in there, but it's not big of a pullback as I'd like. I'd like a bit of a bigger pullback. But this candle, once again, it just shot from the 565 area all the way up to 630 within like 3 seconds. It was almost impossible to get in on that move. If you did, you've done very well. Once again, it's tug of war. It flushed down, and you could have bought it here. You wouldn't know this was the pop up, but you could have bought it here. You get this nice flush down. I didn't see this one in real time, but I see it now. Basically, that you get this nice sort of support there. So you're buying off that previous support. You get the flush down. You sell for the quick pop, and you wouldn't expect this move always. But what we can expect on a consistent basis is when we get these big red candles, like you see this one here, this massive red candle, we can expect a little pop, and that's what we sell. And if you got in around there is the 575. So let's say we got in at 580, which is there, and we sold. We could have got basically a 10-cent pop there. You probably would have been quite consistent to get a 10-15 cent pop on that move. So they're sort of the plays I'm looking for, and I don't really know what happened afterwards. It's just sold off. Once again, as you see, this is sort of a good idea of what I was just saying. When you get these crazy moves, these crazy washes, yes, they can be the end of the stock. You've got to be careful, but you do get these pops. So the bottom of that is 544, popped up to 556, 12-cent move. That one not as great, but you could have made 5 to 8 cents quite consistently there as well. Got to be quick. We're not hanging around. We're not hoping it goes all the way back up. It can start to come on the back end of the move, and once it gets onto the back side of the move, we're less aggressive. So that was CFI. So basically the 3 entries there to sort of take away from this video was the pre-market pivot, which was here, was the first pullback, which was there, and there was an entry here for me where we got previous support, and this is all still the front side of the move. That's the main thing to take away as well. If we were to draw a wedge there like that, this is all the front side. Once it sort of comes here and it's broken, that's now considered the back side of the move. As I said, it had a second lease of life, and it carried on there. Rkda, so net stock Rkda. We were just keeping this on watch because it was making moves. It made a big move Friday, and even pre-market today was gapping up slightly. Well, gapping up quite a lot actually. In the pre-market, high of 930, but it sold off. So it sold off quite a lot. So it's just one we're keeping an eye on. And once again, I couldn't have traded it, so I was just keeping an eye on it. I did actually I put it up on my level 2 for 50 shares, but in the end, I didn't really want to trade 50 shares. But the only really entry I saw here, you had these flushes down. When you got these 2 flushes, you could have probably bought here, but I didn't see that in real time. The one I did see in real time was this one. So we get this nice. So this is the red to green move. That's basically what we're looking for. So I guess the entry would be there. But when we get this nice move up, I will get this. When we get this nice move up here, so we've got these nice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green candles in a row, and then we've got this absolute, not just a washout, but a crazy washout. You see how big this candle is, very thick, big washout. This was a perfect time just to buy for the bottom, buy for the bounce. As you said, this can sum up what I'm looking to do with these stocks, because people, as you see, we've got sort of this pre-market high there almost. People would have bought here at 885 to make the one candle to make the new high and push up to 9, but it's so overextended. We want the pullback, and when we get a big pullback such as this one, this isn't just a pullback, this is a washout. When it's so big like this, we do normally on the really big ones, as you see here and even there, you do get these little pops, and if it's a little pop, you just got to get out, and hopefully most of the time we get these bigger pops as well. And once again, this went down to, so this went from 884 all the way down to 824, a 60-cent drop. Pretty much that was pretty much instantly as well. So absolutely crazy. If you bought for the top there, you would have lost about 50 cents, maybe 60 cents. And as you said, if we bought from bottom, let's say we bought from the bottom of this candle here, the body, which is 832, which is not even the bottom of the candle, and we sold for the body there. That's a 12-cent move. You would have looked to capture, probably 15 to 20 cents on that move. But once again, didn't pull the trigger. I wasn't as fast because of I was happy I just identified it in real time. Tomorrow, if this same thing happens tomorrow, I need to pull the trigger because I'll have the account size to do it. I just didn't have the account to do it today. And it's always typical. We get some really good opportunities when your account's this low. And then the last one, JMU. This was on the gap scanner pre-market. It was gapping up, but it just had no volume pre-market. So if we do this, if you see, it's not really showing much of a gap, but it was gapping up pre-market. I think maybe because it's a low float. Yeah, look, it's like $1 up to pre-market was probably around, or the high maybe here at 140. But so maybe that's like 30%. Where was my entry on this one? There wasn't a good entry on this one. So basically, what happened with the stock anyway? It opened. It didn't have any volume. All of a sudden, it started to pop up. It popped up. It got halted, and then it actually opened only like 3 cents higher, exactly, like 6 cents higher. Flushed all the way down. It popped up. Don't really not the biggest fan of buying flushes after halts. I have done it. They do work sometimes. But yeah, I can't remember the exact actual entry. I think it was here. I think this basically would have been the one, even though it's not the best example. It's not bad though. This was the one I saw in real time. So basically, once the stock's been halted, volume has come in, as you see here. So we're getting the volume coming in, and as it's got halted, and then it's come out, and then we're getting this strength, these green candles. We're getting the consolidation. We get the washout. This would have been the entry where I would have got in here, and it didn't really do much. If you could have held through that first minute for the second minute, you would have maybe got 15 to 20 cents, but you might have got 8 to 10 cents there. That was the other one I saw in real time. It did make this big move here. Oh no, this was the one. Sorry. So yeah, that is the move, but no, actually the one I saw was actually later in the day. I was just keeping it on watch. I wasn't trading, and it come around and you see it's surging back up. We're getting this nice wave, but it's surging back up. This was the entry. We actually got a big move here. When we got the big move, once again, it's similar to the stocks at the open. We want the pullback, which was here. We looked to buy, sell into the pop, and that was the move there. So just to point that out, this was the one I saw. So we get the big move up here. We get the pullback, which is here. Look to buy for the pullback, sell for the push up. Profit target 10-15 cents always. And it's not to say that, like, at the moment what I'm trying to be, these are stocks that I identify a lot quicker. It can be a way I'm limiting my profit range to 10-15 cents, but at the same time, apart from some obvious mistakes I've been making on some really bad stocks, I've been getting some pretty good consistency with them. And it's not to say I'm not going to be trading stocks that have halt, like the halt strategies, or some really good break of higher days, or some bull flags, or whatever it may be. Those are to come. I have been studying them. I have been using them in the simulator. It's just I can't right now use 12 different strategies. I'll be hemorrhaging money like there's no tomorrow. So I'm just trying to keep it to a couple strategies. So that is everything for today. So I hope you enjoyed these videos, guys. As I said in the beginning of the video, if you can subscribe to the channel, if you can like the video, and if you have already, it's really, really so appreciated. More than any words I can probably ever tell you. And once again, I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll be back tomorrow with a boosted account around the 850 mark. We'll be trading as normal, and hopefully we get some good trades in. And that's it for today. So once again, have a good day. Take care. Bye bye.